What if Saturn lost its ring? Look up at the night sky with a telescope, and one planet instantly steals the show. Saturn. With its magnificent ring stretching wide into space, Saturn has long been a crown jewel of our solar system. But have you ever wondered what if those iconic rings simply vanished? What would happen to Saturn, to its moons, to the solar system itself, and how would we here on Earth be affected? In this video, we'll dive deep into one of the most fascinating what-ifs in planetary science. We'll explore where Saturn's rings came from, what would happen if they disappeared, and how the entire solar system might feel the loss. Buckle up because this is going to be a cosmic journey. Before we can imagine Saturn without rings, we need to understand how those rings came to be. Scientists believe Saturn's rings are relatively young, perhaps only 100 to 200 million years old. That may sound ancient to us, but in cosmic time, it's almost yesterday. There are two leading theories. One suggests that the rings are made of leftover debris from the formation of Saturn itself. The other, and more widely accepted one, proposes that the rings were formed when a moon or comet got too close to Saturn and was torn apart by its gravity. That shredded ice and rock eventually spread out into the beautiful flat rings we see today. These rings are mostly made of water ice, about 95 to 99%, and they are enormous. Saturn's rings span over 280,000 kilometers across, yet they're incredibly thin and average, only about 10 meters thick. Imagine a sheet of paper stretched across a football field, and that's how flat they are compared to their width. Now here's the plot twist. Saturn's rings are not eternal. NASA's Cassini spacecraft discovered that the rings are slowly disappearing. This process, known as ring rain, is caused by Saturn's magnetic field, pulling icy particles from the rings down into the planet's atmosphere. According to current estimates, Saturn's rings may vanish completely in about 100 million years. That might sound like a long time, but in astronomical terms, it's the blink of an eye. So the idea of Saturn losing its rings, isn't just science fiction, it's a very real possibility. Okay, now let's imagine a sudden dramatic change. Let's say that somehow Saturn's rings vanished instantly. Maybe a collision scattered them. Maybe they were sucked into the planet. Maybe an alien superweave. I'm just kidding. But seriously, what would happen? First of all, visually, Saturn would look completely different. Without its rings, it would appear more like Jupiter, a giant striped gas planet. Astronomers here on Earth would no longer see that brilliant halo through telescopes. Saturn would go from being the jewel of the solar system to a much more ordinary-looking world. But it's not just about looks. Saturn's rings play a small but important role in the planet's environment. They reflect sunlight, they interact with Saturn's magnetic field, and they influence the orbits of some of Saturn's moons. Saturn has over 140 moons, yes, more than Jupiter. Many of these moons, like Enceladus and Mimas, orbit within or near the rings. The gravitational pull of the rings actually helps stabilize some of these moons' orbits. If the rings suddenly disappeared, the balance would be disturbed. Some moons might drift slightly. Others could experience more frequent collisions with debris that's no longer trapped in the rings. Over long periods, this could even lead to new moon-moon collisions or orbital shifts. One moon in particular, Enceladus, is known for its subsurface ocean and icy geysers. Scientists believe interactions with Saturn's rings and gravity help power those geysers. Without the rings, Enceladus might lose some of that tidal energy, potentially slowing down its cryovolcanic activity. Saturn's rings actually help shape the planet's upper atmosphere. The icy material falling from the rings, what scientists call ring rain, adds water and other particles into Saturn's atmosphere. This process may affect the planet's weather and cloud patterns. If the rings disappeared, this source of material would vanish too. Over time, Saturn's atmosphere could become drier and slightly less complex in its chemical makeup. That might even change how it reflects sunlight, making it appear dimmer when viewed from Earth. Let's imagine the rings disappear. Is that the end of the story? Not necessarily. Under the right conditions, Saturn could form new rings in the future. If a comet or asteroid wandered too close and got ripped apart by Saturn's gravity, the debris could spread into a new ring system. However, these new rings might not look like the current ones. They might be thinner, darker, or shorter-lived. So in a way, Saturn's rings may come and go over the planet's lifetime, forming, fading, and forming again like a cosmic heartbeat. Now, here's a question you might be wondering. If Saturn lost its rings, would Earth feel any effect at all? The short answer? Not really. Saturn is over 1.4 billion kilometers away from us. Its rings have no gravitational effect on Earth. Their disappearance wouldn't change Earth's orbit, climate, or tides in any measurable way. However, there would be an emotional and scientific impact. For astronomers, students, and skywatchers, Saturn's rings are one of the most iconic and inspiring features in our solar system. Losing them would feel like losing a masterpiece from the Cosmic Museum. Saturn's rings are more than just decoration. They are laboratories of physics and chemistry. They help scientists study how planets form, how moons evolve, and how gravity sculpts matter. They also remind us that the universe is dynamic. Even seemingly permanent features can change. The solar system isn't a frozen picture. It's a living, moving story. Every time we point a telescope at Saturn, we're not just looking at a planet. We're looking at a process, a temporary, delicate, and beautiful moment in cosmic history. Imagining a Saturn without rings forces us to think bigger. It challenges us to understand how planets interact with their surroundings. It shows us that change is normal, even on a planetary scale. It also teaches us humility. It's the rings that seem eternal to us are already disappearing. Someday, billions of years from now, future civilizations, if they exist, might look at Saturn and wonder why it looks so plain. Or maybe they'll discover that Saturn has new rings, different ones, born from new collisions or cosmic events. And that's the beauty of the universe. It's always evolving. So what if Saturn lost its rings? Saturn would survive. Its moons would adjust. The solar system would go on. Earth would barely notice, at least physically. But for us, it would be a powerful reminder. Beauty in the universe is often fleeting. Saturn's rings are not permanent, but they are precious. And while they're still here, we have the privilege of seeing them, studying them, and being inspired by them. Next time you see a picture of Saturn, or if you were lucky enough to spot it through a telescope, take a moment to appreciate that shimmering halo of ice. It won't be there forever, but right now, in this moment of cosmic time, it is, and that's a gift. Thank you for joining this journey through space and imagination. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more what-if explorations of our universe. And remember, in a universe full of change, wonder is the one constant we can always hold on to.